Three, two, one, go. Hello and welcome back to another edition of the host of the Steelers, featuring Talk to Sports and the host, where we go into multiple Steelers news stories over the past week or so, and also a new edition. We're going to cover some additional outside NFL stories on this episode as well. Host, how have you been the past couple of weeks? I know mini camp ended about a week and a half ago. Now we're kind of just in the lull waiting for training camp to start. How's host been?
The host is good, as usual, Alex. Of course, like what you just said, just trying to get through the summer here, back into the main training camp, so we can have some more, stories and info to talk about. But still, a lot happening, a lot going on out there in the NFL world.
Yes. All right, we'll jump into Steelers news first. First of all, we start off with um this story. AFC North to be featured on Hard Knocks next season. There'll be the in-season edition of Hard Knocks. It'll be the first time ever where a whole division is featured on the in-season version of Hard Knocks. Obviously the mini camp or training camp version as well, but the HBO show Hard Knocks will go for a different spin this upcoming NFL season. It was revealed on Monday. The AFC North will be the focus of Hard Knocks. All four teams, Ravens, Bengals, Browns, and Steelers, will be followed in 2024. Hard Knocks in season with the AFC North debuts December 3rd at 9 p.m. Eastern/Pacific time. Their statement released was Hard Knocks in season with the AFC North will document the battle of the AFC North crown during the final 6 weeks of the NFL season, as well as a playoff run for the division winner and any AFC North wild card teams. Host, how are you feeling about Steelers on Hard Knocks and the whole division format?
I guess the division format, is pretty cool for a Hard Knocks edition. Of course, um, I'm not too fond of seeing the Steelers on there. I know it's pretty cool the way HBO goes behind all the scenes, and we get to see inside the locker room, inside the training center, inside the coaches' rooms and stuff like that. I get it. I just think I don't know, it ultimately becomes a distraction for the team. And I don't know how the Steelers are going to handle it. I don't know how Mike Tomlin's going to handle it. Of course, he'll probably be the main focus. All his great one-liners he has in his press conferences. I don't know how much access. Usually Hard Knocks gets a lot of access. I don't know what kind of access you can get during the season. I don't know. I'm not haven't watched the mid-season Hard Knocks before in the past, so I don't know what kind of access it gives them during the season. But now we know why the Steelers have such a tough schedule down the stretch. The NFL did it on purpose. Not just throwing that out there. I think they did it on purpose because they knew the Steelers in the AFC North were going to be on the Hard Knocks. But I know it'll be cool, but I'm not looking forward to it for the team aspect.
Yeah, I've never watched the in-season edition either, but I'll be looking forward to the last couple of weeks of the season to see all the episodes, or possibly not looking forward to them, but we'll have to wait and see. Other story, obviously, we were just briefly mentioning him in the AFC North Hard Knocks. Mike Tomlin got an extension the past couple during the past couple of weeks off. Steelers have always so basically they signed an extension to keep Mike Tomlin with the team through at least the 2027 season. That extends his deal 3 years. Obviously, their statement, they said Mike Tomlin's leadership and commitment to the Steelers have been pivotal to our success during his first 17 years as head coach, said Pittsburgh president Art Rooney. the second. Obviously there was a lot of debate on whether he should have got extended or not. That kind of went away when they switched up the quarterback room drastically. But it's kind of still a debate, kind of heated up again, especially since they extended him this for the next couple of years. What do you think about this new extending Mike Tomlin to 2027 host?
Well, as I said on my show, I'm 50-50 about it. Yes, Mike Tomlin motivates these players, gets them to play hard, but is 9-8, 10-7 good enough these days in the NFL? It seems like they always sneak in as a wild card team the last 5 or 6 seasons, even though they did win the division a few years ago when they started off 11-0. But it seems like lately they sneak in as a wild card, they go on the road and get beat. Um, you know, I get it. You're supposed to be excited that your team makes the playoffs, but this is not just a team. This is the Pittsburgh Steelers we're talking about here. This team is supposed to win Super Bowl titles, and Mike Tomlin hasn't been back to the Super Bowl since 2010. Again, I'm 50-50 on this. Who can you get? It's better. I don't know. You know, there's plenty of hotshot offensive coordinators out there that they could go get, but Bobby Slovak of Houston, he wanted to stay. He wanted to stay and coach C.J. Stroud. Uh, Ben Johnson, the OC in Detroit, he wanted to stay and be the coordinator for the Lions. So, is there anybody out there that's better? Probably not. So I guess we're kind of stuck with Mike Tomlin for a while. But I just want to see some more playoff wins or maybe a better regular season record. And if the team starts off bad, I wouldn't mind them tanking either, just to get a higher draft pick. The 9-8 season, and I feel like they're headed in that direction again this year. It just needs to stop. But until you move off of Mike Tomlin, I don't think you're going to get much better. So that's just my opinion. What about you, Alex?
Um, Kind of have flip-flop opinions based on how like the roster was looking. I thought if they were gonna get like a new rookie quarterback that they should get a new coach as well. But obviously they flipped the quarterback room for Russ Wilson and Justin Fields. So I think it's actually worthy of having Mike Tomlin coach and see how good he can do with these quarterbacks. And I really they flipped their whole offense from last season as well. And they have a new offensive coordinator as well. Like you said, obviously the goal is to win more playoff games. I think the goal for the last 3 years have just been win one playoff game and then see if you can go on a run, or whatnot. I think they're kind of getting to the point where they can actually do that with a competent GM now and Omar Khan, and we'll see, how good Mike Tomlin can be. I wouldn't be that mad, like after this contract. I wouldn't be that mad if they just didn't sign him again, and went on from a different coach. But it depends how much success they have. I don't think they're gonna fire him during this contract unless they like really suck or something. But I would be okay uh, to see what success they have. I'm not opposed to moving on to them, um, uh, but we'll have to wait and see what happens. Additionally, we have another signing that happened over the past couple of weeks here in the Steelers bringing back a former cornerback. Cam Sutton signs a 1-year deal with the Steelers. Obviously, he got waived by the Lions after having a arrest warrant out for him and then evading the police for a couple of weeks there, but he turned himself in. He got the felony down to a misdemeanor, and they're still waiting on a possible suspension that could happen from the NFL. They haven't heard anything yet, but they bring back one of the top corners from a couple years ago. And basically they only need him for to be like the third corner this time, which I believe that's actually a pretty good position for him. I think it's a good deal for both sides. Cam Sutton gets to be back playing again, and Steelers get some good depth in the cornerback room. What do you think about Steelers and Cam Sutton host?
I think it's good that they're bringing him back. I was a fan of Cam Sutton when he played in Pittsburgh. I was disappointed when he signed with the Lions, and the Steelers didn't want to match the offer that the Lions came up with. But he's going to get suspended by the NFL. That's the rumor. Uh, whether it's 4, 6, 8 games, we don't know yet. But he's going to still miss some time, even though the Steelers signed him to the minimum. But I think he's going to be a big help back in the secondary. Knows the defense, knows the players. So I think he'll fit right in once he gets his legal problems put past him.
I think it might only be like a 2-game suspension, which would be ideal. That'd be my guess, but we'll see what I guess the NFL comes up with. But they Steelers did sign Graylin Arnold, a veteran corner as well, and then they also have Beanie Bishop Jr. So they kind of have a couple guys that can fill in while Cam Sutton is out, and I think that's why they felt comfortable signing him without even knowing what the suspension is. So they're not just like banking on him the whole season. They have a plan without him. Additionally, we had some stuff on social media this past week, past couple of days was Patrick Queen fires back at Ravens, cornerback. This time around it comes.
I believe it was Marlon Humphrey he was going back and forth with.
Yes, it was Marlon Humphrey. Marlon Humphrey on his podcast, The Punchline, emphasized that he and Queen are still on good terms. Claims that once reality sets in, Queen will realize that the grass isn't always greener on the other side. In response to his former teammates' comments, Queen posted an admittedly humorous video of him watering his lawn, indicating that he believes the grass will be perfectly green in Pittsburgh. Host, what do you think about this? Kind of semi-beef.
Well, he's got to justify why he jumped ship and went to the Steelers somehow, and he's not gonna, whether he realizes it was a bad decision or not. He's not going to admit that, especially to some of his old teammates like Marlon Humphrey. I really do think he wants to be in Pittsburgh. He took less money to come here. He said other teams offered him 7 or 8 million more. He liked the fit with the defense. He liked what Mike Tomlin had to say. So I think he's going to be an excellent linebacker here. And like I said, right when I signed him, and I wasn't kidding. This is probably one of the best free agent signings I've ever seen them do, was getting Patrick Queen. This is somebody they needed after the Ryan Shazier injury years ago. They still have never filled that void in their linebacker core. So I think Patrick Queen is going to come in there and do that. Plus, the draft there, Patrick Wilson, is that his name? The linebacker out of North Carolina State, is that his name?
Aiton was.
Yeah, I think he'll be able to learn off Patrick Queen. I think the linebacker Cole Holcomb coming back from injury whenever he gets back, Alvin Roberts. I think they got a good linebacking core now. I think this is going to help them out by getting Patrick Queen.
All right, and lastly, we had Levon Bell shade Steelers Justin Fields after video of QB throwing with trainer. Former Steelers running back Levon Bell tweeted that ball getting there late. I know it's routes on air, but this is telling you a lot. And then some people tweeted the balls ain't late. His QB trainer was there, and there was working progressions. He is a great quarterback, and everything was on the money. What do you think about Le'Veon Bell? Do you think he actually has a point, or was he just trying to get attention?
Le'Veon Bell, he still keeps on dissing whoever he was, still thinks he should be in the NFL. Remember, he's the idiot that turned down the big contract offer by the Steelers and went with the Jets. And then, because of Adam Gase and what happened there, ended up in no man's land. So, he just wants to keep on dissing everyone else around him for his shortcomings because he never signed the deal and stayed in Pittsburgh. I don't care what that guy says. That guy's a complete bum.
Yes. And we have an update on a mini situation that would have been somewhat more intriguing, but this is kind of just how it played out. Steelers cut Trenton Thompson, safety, and Denzel Mims, practice squad wide receiver. They ended up signing Jacob Copeland, played college football at Florida and Maryland, undrafted free agent originally from Tennessee Titans. He played with Vikings, and he was on the Steelers camp last season. And they also claimed a defensive tackle off waivers from the Falcons, Willington Prevalin. He spent time with Packers, Tampa Bay, and Dallas. Free agent at Rutgers in 2020. So that's what they did with the open cap spaces. We'll move on to some NFL stories now. And we'll start off with some rumors and maybe just ideas about a possible QB salary cap idea that's kind of been floating around out there after all these quarterbacks have been getting, ridiculous money, especially even compared to some of the other positions out there. People are pushing for a separate cap for a quarterback cap. Given the importance of the position, it's not shocking the market keeps escalating. Doing a landmark overhaul of cap management for this seems unlikely, but people are still floating out quarterback cap. That's been talked about on the Rich Eisen show recently. He said there has certainly been discussion with the league among certain owners about even the idea of a quarterback cap, that at some point you don't want quarterback numbers to go over a certain percentage of your salary cap. To my knowledge, that hasn't really gained traction, in part because of so many teams have paid their quarterbacks. Host, what do you think about the possible rumors and just like kind of general thoughts going on about the QB cap idea?
Well, the way this is escalating here, I talked about what's his name there, Trevor Lawrence getting 55 million a year. The next guy's gonna get 56. The next guy's gonna get 57. Rumors of Dak Prescott getting 60. This is getting out of control for this position. It just seems like if you could just throw the ball downfield, you're going to get $55 million a year. That's what Trevor Lawrence is doing. I read the stats on my show. He wasn't, they weren't great, but he can get the ball downfield. He can score touchdowns, and there you go, 55 million. I think you need a separate cap for these quarterbacks. But how are they going to work that out? Right now, the total cap is 230. So are you going to take money off of the rest of the team cap? So you can't have a salary cap 230 million for the team and then have a $50 million quarterback cap. That'd be 280. So you got to do something in between. You got to take money off the team cap, maybe take the 230, lower it to 200, and then have like a 50 to 60 million dollar QB cap, and that's for all your QBs. That's just not your starting QB. That should be for all your QBs, your backup and your third stringer. So if teams want a good backup, you might not be able to pay a lot because you're going to be paying your starting quarterback, 55 to 60 million. So that's just something the NFL needs to work out. I think it's a interesting concept, and I think it'll be, pretty good down the way as long as they make it fair and as long as the salaries continue not to get out of control like they are now.
Now we go to some news about Aaron Rodgers missing minicamp for the Jets. He had some comments made by former New England Patriots receiver Julian Edelman recently. Julian Edelman poses to be a fan of Aaron Rodgers, but he also thinks the QB absence at Jets mandatory minicamp could be the difference in the race for the AFC crown this fall. He said, I'm a big Aaron Rodgers fan, but if I was in that locker room and Aaron Rodgers wasn't there for 3 days, on the mandatory minicamp. I guarantee there's 4 or 5 guys, 6, 7, 8, 9 guys in that locker room sitting there like, where is he at? Julian Edelman said on um Friday. He said instead he's somewhere out there in the wilderness exploring his inner self and that sort of thing. Edelman's prediction of how it goes down in the AFC East this year, he believes a slow start to the Jets' 2024 season could cause major locker room problems in New York. Edelman said himself, if they go 1-3, this is going to be such a big distraction for that locker room because everyone is going to be talking about it. How do you feel about Aaron Rodgers skipping minicamp host?
I'm with Julia Edelman on this whole situation here. This is a guy who came back from the injury and said at the beginning of the new season, said, "I'm here, I'm back. We're just going to focus on football." And then this guy doesn't even show up for the mandatory minicamp. Everybody knows the dates. All the teams know the dates. All the players know the dates. He couldn't schedule anything around this. He this unacceptable for a so-called leader of this team. Again, making it all about himself, not putting the team first. He put it all about himself, so everybody was talking about him. Nobody was talking about what the Jets were doing in the mandatory minicamp. It was all focused on Aaron, all the talk. Why isn't he here? What's this team going to do? And now listen to what you're saying. Boy, if the team starts off 1-3, could be a disaster. Comes in season when these guys are looking at somebody to be a leader, and here's Aaron Rodgers, probably pointing the finger at everyone else but himself, like he usually does. To add on to what you said, Robert Saleh said in an interview, I spoke to the team. Everyone's good at it, are good with the decision. Are they? Are you sure about that? All 90 players you have in the camp right now, they're all good with that, Robert. Robert Saleh needs to rethink the situation and reel this team in. And somebody needs to talk with Aaron, but that's not just going to help because this is just who he is. So I think the Jets are headed for another disastrous season.
Yeah, but I think last year was really their season to actually do something, and then Aaron Rodgers got injured. So now we have lots of drama, and we don't even know how good Aaron Rodgers will end up being. So it certainly will be an interesting season for the Jets. And like you were saying, like a couple of weeks ago when they released the schedule, you'll end up seeing a lot of the Jets because I believe they have a lot of prime time games this year. We'll move on to another interesting story that came out over the past week. Was NFL Comeback Player of the Year criteria gets major overhaul. Then NFL released a statement around that, said the spirit of the AP Comeback Player of the Year award is to honor a player who demonstrated resilience in the face of adversity by overcoming illness, physical injury, or other circumstances that led him to miss playing time the previous season. The decision to provide this guidance was made last December, but could not be implemented for the 2023 awards because the season was almost completed. The league hopes that introducing these guidelines will create some uniformity among AP voters. Last few winners for the award were split on why they earned it. For example, Joe Flacco, Geno Smith, and Ryan Tannehill were all given the award after having a good year and struggling the year before. Meanwhile, Joe Burrow and Alex Smith have both earned the award after coming back from serious leg injuries. Now the NFL wants the award to go mostly players like Joe Burrow and Alex Smith. This should resonate with fans who are upset that like last year Joe Flacco won the award after coming back from having kind of irrelevant seasons to having a really good season last year. Some wanted Damar Hamlin to win after coming back from the field after his accident last season. Host, what do you think about this new comeback of the year award criteria?
It shouldn't really have. I guess you got to have some criteria, but you shouldn't really have any criteria. If a guy didn't play the year before, or he went out with a bad injury, and he comes back and has a great season, he should be eligible no matter what. Uh, Regardless, with like Joe Flacco's situation, he was sitting on the couch at home, got a phone call, and he played great the rest of the season. Came out, he should be eligible for uh, comeback player of the year, regardless of what the situation was before. I don't think really. I know you. Like I said, you need some kind of criteria, but just keep it at a minimum. It's the NFL, and it's so hard to play well every year. It's so hard to win games. It shouldn't matter what how much of a criteria you have for comeback player of the year.
Yes, I kind of like it when players go from being bad to very good. I kind of like that more to win the comeback of the player of the year anyways. We'll see how this affects voting in future years and potential rumors. They could create a like a most improved player award for players like Joe Flacco. Like many leagues like the NBA have that award as well, but we'll see how this all plays out in the couple years to follow this announcement. Lastly, we had on Thursday, NFL announces training camp dates and locations for all 32 teams for the 2024 season. The 2024 NFL season is quickly approaching, and nothing significant signifies the return of football like training camp. The NFL on Tuesday announced training camp, reporting dates for all and locations for all 32 NFL teams. You can check NFL.com to find out all your information on your favorite teams. To wrap it up, host, how excited are you for Steelers training camp this upcoming season?
Well, always excited, Alex, because that means the season's right around the corner. So I'll take the training camp anytime, and good to see get these rookies in there, especially the ones they drafted on the offensive line to see how well these guys are going to do, and hopefully they'll become starters and help Russell Wilson and Justin Fields out this year.
That will wrap it up with saying 77 days until Steelers kickoff. For that, we have number 77, Broderick Jones, Steelers first round pick 2 drafts ago now. His rookie season last year, offensive tackle. Started off as left tackle, but midseason they moved him to right tackle, and that greatly helped the Steelers' run game and offensive line play. Now with them drafting Troy Fatano, he's going to move over to left tackle, his natural position, and hope to help the Steelers improving offensive line and to make a dominant impact in the Steelers running game. But that's about all for us on the host of the Steelers with Talk to Sports and the host. You can find all his information at SteelDF72. And host, do you want to go over what you've been talking about on your podcasts as of late?
Yeah, Alex, appreciate it. We've been started to break down division by division, over and unders. So if you're a betting man, you want to tune in and catch as we go down each division. And we go over 2 teams an episode. We go over the schedule. We go over all their latest additions, record, everything, and we give you a prediction for the 2024 season. So you can listen to that and decide what you want to do based on what I think or your own opinion compared against what you think compared to against me. So that's what's been going on there.
All right. This has been the host of the Steelers. We hope everyone has a great weekend and go Steelers.
Go Steelers.